the Los Angeles Police Department, Starsky and Hutch, One Adam 12. I don't know if Starsky and Hutch were actually in LA, but when I was a young man, a TV show started called Starsky and Hutch. It was hugely popular. After the first or second season, it became a little bit less popular, simply because there's terrible problems in America with them saying it was too violent. They toned it down a bit, lost its edge. But anyway, so the Starsky and Hutch, great show. Hill Street Blues. There were so many great cop shows. And of course, at that time, I was a cop. And if there's one thing cops love, it's cop shows and cop books. Joseph Wambaugh, an author, also an LAPD police officer. He wrote books like The Onion Field, The Black Marble. He wrote Bumper Morgan, The Blue Knights. Anyway, see, no research yet again. So anyway, LAPD we're supposed to be talking about. So what happened is, in 1970, I went into the South Australian Police Department, 1970. And it was a long time ago. And did 3 years recruit training, and then came out as a police officer and went on patrol work and loved being a cop. It was so exciting. Yeah, night shift, 5-6 days a week of night shift, which is 11 at night till 7 in the morning. That was pretty dreadful because it's so boring. What's they say about the army? 90% boring, 10% terrifying. Well, police work's very similar. Anyway, so many stories, police stories I could tell. Police Story. Now that was a great show, Police Story. So anyway, here we are. 1988 comes along and I'm a serving police officer, and I have this job investigating other policemen. Yes, I had one of those jobs, a toe cutter or a headhunter. Inside the police terminology, you're actually a dog. But anyway, I had a job investigating police, and when I had this job investigating police, I was given the opportunity to go and work for the Civilian Oversight Department of Long Beach. Long Beach is in Australia, Long Beach. Anyway, this is getting all, I might have to chop so much of this out. So 1988, I get an opportunity to go to Los Angeles, and when I go to Los Angeles, and this is something I was supposed to research before I started, and I didn't, so we'll just push on, I'll keep it short, you can look it up for yourself. So 1988, I go to LA, and I go to the police academy, the Los Angeles Police Department Police Academy, which in those days, I went to the old academy in 88, which was near the Hollywood Bowl. Oh, I really should have researched this, shouldn't I, mate? I went to the old police academy anyway. I did a one-day induction course into becoming a member of the LAPD, what it involves, what the training is, how long the training takes, what the induction course was. It was absolutely fascinating. And you say to me, now hang on, Steve, you're a police officer in Australia, you were actually already a police officer in Australia, and you went to Los Angeles, and you went to the police academy to see about, you're doing a one-day induction course to see whether you want to join the LAPD. Well, really, that's what happened. At the time, as crazy as it seems, when I look back now in hindsight, what was I thinking? But then, you're gung-ho, you're silly, you're young, you're stupid. I'd been a serving cop for 15 years, and I must confess, the glamour of Tinseltown. So I went to the LAPD Police Academy. I think the most telling thing I can tell you about that is in those days, the old police academy, not sure if it's a museum anymore. Lance, you generated this video by asking me a question, and so you can tell me, is the old police academy that I would have gone to in 1988, which is, it's in one of the big parks. Is it now a police museum? Is it a museum for the LAPD, or did they demolish it when they went to the new academy? But then what was telling was you walked in the front door of the academy and you had officers and admin and you had classrooms, and then you went out into the bigger the training rooms, gun galleries. When you walked in, there was a long passageway, and that passageway was lined both sides with black and white photographs, and they were framed photos, and the photos were all about the size of an A4 piece of paper behind glass, and they were 3 or 4 high, one after another, after another, after another, after another, and then down the other side, more. All of those black and white photos. Are you sitting down? You probably are. All of those black and white photos were Los Angeles Police Department officers killed on duty. Mind blowing. It's like they're policemen in suburbia, and the death toll is phenomenal. Again, more research to this video, mate. I would have actually looked it up and seen what the numbers were. But anyway, this story was supposed to be about me going to the LAPD. One of the officers I had some dealings with was a female motorcycle police officer. And I remember what was most interesting about that is at the time, 1988, women were trying to get onto the police motorbikes in South Australia, and there was a strong... They weren't letting them. And this is in the days before they could go to some tribunal and the police department was told you have to let them. And so I said to this woman very careful what I say here, because she was blonde and she wasn't that old and she was slim, so I better say no more. But anyway, and I said to her, you know, women can't ride police motorbikes in South Australia where I come from. What happened here? How did this all happen? And she said, LAPD, how sensible is this? LAPD introduced one rule. You want to go on the course to see if you're good enough to be on a police motorbike in Los Angeles, then all they do is they lie, whatever the current bike is, Harley, but at the time I think they were Kawasaki's from memory in '88. They lie a police motorcycle on its side and they say, pick it up. And if you can go up to that motorbike, have you ever tried to pick up a Harley? If a woman can go up to that motorbike and she can pick it up and stand it up, then she can do the course to see if she's good enough to ride a motorbike. So look, that's a pretty short story. So the most important thing before the video ends that I must tell you about this story, again, when you say, hang on Steve, you were an Australian citizen, because I was born in London, but when I came to Australia about 1970, while I was a recruit, I got citizenship, so I gave up my English citizenship, I became an Australian citizen. But then I went to LA and did this course for the LAPD. So what the LAPD's attitude was, as an Australian citizen, I could undergo training, and if I failed, what did it matter? I went back to Australia. If I passed training, this is 1988, Lance, I don't know how it's changed, but if I passed training, going in as an Australian citizen, doing the whole course with the LAPD, immediately that I passed, I was immediately given a green card so that I could live and work in America and then undertake the steps to gain American citizenship. So the other thing, of course, I think I've already said, what was I thinking? I was young, gung-ho, excitement-driven, adrenaline-driven. And now in hindsight, when I look back and I say, thank goodness I didn't go. The reason I didn't go is personal, and it involves... oh dear, how much do I want to get into all of this? Let's just say it's personal, and it wasn't my decision. It was somebody else's decision that we didn't do it. I think you've probably worked it all out. Anyway, and of course in hindsight, the biggest thing in hindsight is think of that passageway lined with photos of dead police officers, and I'm convinced that I would have been dead because I was just too crazy and macho, and back then thought you were invincible, probably a lot like anyone that went into the Marines or the SAS. And no doubt I would have done something daft and got myself killed by a crip, banger. Maybe just some little old lady who was suffering a little bit of dementia and had 57 handguns in her own personal apartment collection. Anyway, we've gone on a bit there. It was my birthday yesterday. I was 71 yesterday. Well, and there you go, and I'm talking about the LAPD back in '88. Thanks, Lance. Till next time. Cheers.